Alright, good evening po sa inyong lahat at welcome na naman sa isang episode ng Tech Sabado. Today is Saturday, 8 to 9 p.m. po kami every Saturday sa YouTube and Facebook. Magandang gabi po sa inyo at sigurado, panalo na naman tong episode namin na to. Papakilala ko na agad ang ating mga kasama dito sa Tech Sabado every Saturday since 2015. Siyempre, walang iba kundi ang Executive Editor ng Newsbytes.ph. Walang iba kundi si
Melvin Calimag po, magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. Kita-kita na naman tayo for another episode of Tech Sabado. At nandito po tayo ngayon sa napakagandang venue natin sa Quad, sa Asian Century Center. Dito po sa BGC, in the heart of BGC. And of course, kasama natin ang ating mga kaibigan, collaborators for Tech Sabado, ang Limang Siglo, led by J.R. Contreras and his, of course, angels.
Alright, syempre, kasama rin natin regular co-host natin dito sa Tech Sabado. Walang iba, syempre, kundi ang Tito ng San Pablo, Laguna, na nandito sa Manila.
Magandang gabi po, Raymund Tribdino po, Tito Tribs ng The Manila Times, cleantechnica.com at syempre ng Tech Sabado. Magandang gabi po sa lahat.
Ayan, gaya ng sinabi ko, magiging panalo to. Winner tong episode natin ngayong gabi. Dahil pag-usapan natin dito yung yung trabaho namin mismo, journalism po ang pag-uusapan natin dito at syempre yung transition nito sa digital journalism. Syempre papakilala natin yung ating guest ngayong gabi. Take it away, Tito Tribs.
Hey, actually hindi na kailangan ipakilala. Ang guest natin ngayong gabi si Dax Lucas, the big boss of Insider PH.
Yeah.
Kasama natin sa Inquirer. Magsama kami sa business world for a while, for a very short while.
Kami naman, nagsama sa Manila Times.
Sa Manila Times.
2002?
2 to 4 ako.
Okay.
Ako rin, doon, sabay tayo doon, 2 to 4.
Oh, good evening, Dax.
Yun.
Magandang gabi sa ating mga manonood. Good evening, gentlemen, attorney,
Ay,
Tribs, Jing. Thank you for the opportunity to get myself into trouble once more with my big
There
mouth.
you go.
Of course.
Palagi ka naman nandyan eh. Di ba?
Matagal na natin
Happy to be here.
Matagal ka na namin invite, pero
Like
syempre.
2 years in the making.
Oo nga,
2 years na may halos kasabay ng Insider PH.
Yeah.
More or less, yeah.
Di ba?
Kaya natin yan naisip kasi nga dahil Insider PH na si Dax, matagal siya sa na nakilala sa Inquirer. So gusto natin pag-usapan dito yung transition from alam naman natin like Manila Times, Inquirer, Daily Tribune, Manila Standard, mga print lahat yan nung dumating na tong digital na to nagkaroon ng bigla ng transition, nagbago yung yung mundo ng journalism. Nayanig actually.
Upside down.
Upside down, talagang nayanig ito. Lalo na naalala ko nung nag-interaction ako. Parang feeling ko wala nang print. Pero buhay pa rin ang print Dito pag-usapan natin ano ba nangyayari? Ano ba difference ng being a journalist in the digital world and still being a journalist katulad namin ni Tito Tribs. At syempre, hindi mawawala dito yung Newsbytes.ph na talagang purely online siya. And of course, Insider.ph is also purely online.
ako kasi gusto kong makita yung point of view ni Dax. Kasi talagang galing siya ng print talaga, business world. Manila Times, Inquirer, pinakala Inquirer.
Super mainstream, super traditional.
Oo.
MS
Legacy.
Super M kung tawagin ng mga Gen Z,
Correct.
ng mga millennials.
Correct.
Dax, babato ko na yung unang question sa'yo. What made you make the leap? Ano ba yung point? Ano yung nakikita mo nun sa online when you were still with the print publications? Although yung print meron ding
Digital,
online version,
shortnet.
Pero what made you
Pag mo sabihin dahil sa Newsbytes.ph.
Okay, pag paumanhin nyo kung lumabas yung kaunting yabang, but in the interest of transparency, we have to lay it out, right? So, well, more than anything else as a journalist, I am hindi naman anything else, but one of my key drivers as a journalist is I enjoy being in the know, right? Nag-i-enjoy akong nandun ka sa status na para bang alam mo lahat. Parang alam mo na, and people treat you as such,
Yep.
right? Parang, so sometime during the pandemic, okay, and as a background, I was in charge of assembling our regular BizBuzz columns sa Inquirer, right?
Chismis. Business.
Right?
And business.
That role requires you to know a lot,
Yes.
right? Sometime during the pandemic, a couple of CEOs, a couple of tycoons forwarded me blind items from another news organization. Dax, kilala mo ba kung sino itong pinag-usapan dito? Okay, and then it happened again, and it happened again, blind items from competitors.
Correct.
Sabi ko, wow, something's wrong. Kung ang interest nila is being piqued by those outlets rather than mine,
Yes.
right? So napalian
Outlet sa digital?
digital. Siyempre, link eh. Pino-forward sa akin yung link eh. Sino to? 'Di ba? So sabi ko, okay. So mukhang hindi na-erode na yung dating position namin sa BizBuzz as the top tier source for that one. So napa-reassess ako. And one thing led to another, and the bottom line is we needed to respond in a more timely and a more dynamic fashion, which the legacy part of the organization was making a little difficult, right? I mean, no offense to the great people there, but the transition is mabigat eh, di ba? Para may drag eh, di ba? So you needed to be sleek and fast. And sometimes, well, in my assessment, it needed to be a clean slate. So, yun,
okay.
di ba? So,
Pero mabigat yan, ha? Needed to be a clean slate.
Medyo.
Kasi paano mo ngayon gigilingin, and I use the word milling, gigilingin mo, ang breaking story, kasi you broke the Bangladesh bank heist.
right.
So, when you did that, it happened the next day.
Yes.
So in the first 18 hours before your 18 or 14 hours before your story came out, there was already something going on.
Yes.
By the
Yes.
time your story came out, you broke it.
Yes.
But it was already in the middle of some transition.
Yes.
Did that affect your mindset?
But I remember
Yes, but yes.
But I remember that Bangladesh bank heist, Monday nyo linabas yung storya, pero Friday nagpaparinig ka na.
Yes.
Nagpaparinig ka na sa BizBuzz doon
Yes.
Friday na nagdarat na something
Correct.
big.
Correct. Back then, this was in 2016, February 2016, I had the luxury of being able to brag a weekend before and use the 18 hours
Yes.
closer to do more work, right? We had the luxury of time.
Okay.
Today, I wouldn't even dare.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even dare hit. Because ang galawan ngayon, pare, hindi lang hours, we're talking about minutes.
Correct.
Minutes, right? And okay, meron pa nga seconds.
Yeah.
Kahit unverified, di ba?
Yeah. So the luxury of time in traditional media has been compressed to a very short makinang ba yung ulo ko? You need me to. Okay. So it's been compressed, right?
Correct.
That's the key difference.
Okay.
The velocity of news. Right? Speed. Yeah.
Tsaka yung pag-spread.
Pero balik tayo dun sa usap ng velocity. Kasi rate times time yan, di ba?
Yes, sir.
So, pag sinabi mong velocity, anong ibig sabihin nun? Velocity of picking up and reporting or velocity of reporting and receiving? I need to ask that question, Doc. I need to ask that question because kanina, pinakitaan mo kami ng stats.
Yeah.
Kung saan makikita natin, Insider PH.
Proprietary yun.
Okay. Insider PH leads. Diba?
Proprietary? Okay. Okay, yeah.
Leads in that
some metrics, yes.
in some metrics.
Yes.
Some metrics. Yung mga metrics na yun, mahalaga. Kasi yun yung sagot doon sa tanong ko.
Yeah. I wish I could say that we need to concentrate only on one aspect. Pero pare, lahat eh. Unfortunately, it's important for all of the aspects you mentioned eh. And much to our detriment, pare, we cannot relax. Diba? Sadly. I mean, I'd love to be back to the old 24-hour news cycle na pag alas 5 nakapag-file na tapos na tayo.
Correct.
Not anymore, unfortunately.
Wala na yun. More than a decade nang wala yun.
My guy Miguel Camus sometimes files stories at 1 a.m. That's, has to be
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
At saka of course, yung reach all over
Yes.
the world. Like pag-print, talagang
Diyan ka lang. Diyan ka lang sa
abot ng
delivery
time.
time.
sa barbershop o kaya diyan ka lang sa
correct.
beauty parlor. Wala na reach mo.
The game has changed, and
Sobra.
that makes it incredibly exciting and unfortunately incredibly scary too. Right?
Oo, saka yung stress kasi especially pag developing story.
Nakakapagod pa.
Okay, developing story, ang advantage lang kasi ngayon, kahit, sabi ko nga, kahit unverified, pwede mo na i-post Bahala ka na kung ano. Kasi pwede mo i-edit
Yeah.
May real-time edit ka Unless ma-picture lang kagad for libel.
Yeah.
For, hindi katulad sa print, talagang the next day, tatapusin mo the whole afternoon, tapos antay mo lumabas bukas. Tapos pag may mali ka sa print, wala na, that's it.
You're right. The stress, and I can honestly tell you guys that I have not had a decent night's sleep. By decent night's sleep, I mean the full 8 hours thing uninterrupted since the day I informed my bosses at the Inquirer that I was resigning.
Okay.
That was like November 26, 2023.
Okay.
It's all been, disrupted sleep since then.
Yeah.
Right?
Take us through the process yung from the time you left Inquirer to actually launching the site. Ano yung what happened there?
Before you tell that story, magbe-break muna ang Tech Sabado. We'll be back after a few reminders. Okay, we're back dito sa Tech Sabado. Napaka-enlightening itong kwentuhan namin regarding digital journalism, no? Balik tayo sa pag-uusapan natin. Siyempre, ang guest natin, ang founder and hindi senior reporter ng Insider.ph. Walang base yung kaibigan namin si Dax Lucas. Okay, dali mo kami doon sa question ni Melvin, yung
The journey. Okay. So back in 2023, mid 2023, when I decided to start, working it out in my head, I sat over lunch with one of the heads of digital publishing agency. Gusto kong gawin ito, but I have no idea how to go about it. And the lady gave me a framework. Right? So this is what you need to do. You need 18 to 24 month runway for a startup. So that by runway she meant, right? Like mukhang kaya ko naman from my own. Hindi naman sabi niya, you need a publishing platform. Sabi niya, WordPress. Use WordPress. Yeah, everyone use Word. We do it. Everyone does it. Blah blah blah, and so forth, right? So I followed everything except for WordPress.
Okay.
There you go.
So
Not using WordPress?
no, not WordPress. So nung when I was talking to my friends, one of my close friends connected me to another friend of hers who was a web developer. His name was Ninoy Leiran. Nasirang si Ninoy the mountaineer, right? Who he had an mishap in Japan in October. He passed away. And anyway, he was our developer. So I sat down with him. Dinescribe ko yung gusto kong mangyari sa platform ng Insider. Sabi ko, gusto ko pagpasok ng reader, ng audience sa web page, it's the same feeling you get when you walk into an Apple store in Palo Alto.
Wow.
Pare, nakita mo yun, di ba?
Oh.
Maaliwalas, puti, light colors, walang clutter. Yun lang. And this guy is a visual artist.
Good.
Sabi niya, okay, I get it. So, ganito. I gave him the colors. Sabi ko, gusto ko royal blue and gold na makinang. Sabi niya, ha? So, ginawa niyang medyo matte blue, medyo matte yung gold, di ba? Ito, classier to. Yung isa kasi parang sumasabong sa'yo. Kailangan kalmado na. Okay, di ba? Sabi, maraming white space but not too much. There's like then I described
May breathing room. Kumbaga.
Exactly. Yeah. So after that, I go, okay, so what do you think? This needs to be a custom job. Hindi kakayanin because WordPress has templates.
Right?
Right?
Template lang.
This has to be a custom job. Mahal to. Anyway, it's like you want quality, you gotta spend for it, right? Okay, so there went half of my runway. So no, but that one, and then it was a fairly tight. I'm told, I'm not sure, but for a developer, it was a fairly tight schedule because we wanted to launch in 6 months. So nakram. Thankfully, so we were able to launch in 6 months. I was able to bag Miguel Camus, my former colleague at the Inquirer, a super key person because he's responsible for 90% of our output.
Actually, Inquirer, pinirate ko si Miguel.
Well, no,
Hindi ba siya nag-resign dun? Nandun pa rin siya, di ba?
No, but Miguel is one of the top performers, right? But I sense he could do more, and I thought he would be excited by the prospect of doing something new, right? So I used the exact line Steve Jobs used to recruit the Pepsi guy. What's his name?
Scully.
Yes.
Scully.
Yeah, okay. Diba? There's this
Yung quote famous quote about the Pepsi.
Okay, parang, so, do you want to sell flavored water for the rest of your life? Or do you want to come with me and change the world?
Nah.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Hindi lang yun. Pati si Tita Cory.
Tita Cory na rin.
No. To their credit, to Miguel and Tita Cory's credit, they took a major leap, and I'm so happy we're doing great work together along with the other members of the team. Right?
Mga members of the team mo?
So it's myself, Miguel, Cory. We have a feature writer, si Monchito Nocong.
Hey, Monchito. I met him.
I am not, I swear to you, I hired him to write obituaries. This guy, if you read these obituaries, the obituaries of Monchito, parang buhay yung tao. Parang hindi patay. Parang pinupuri mo lang yung tao before giving him an award. Diba? Great read, right? So Monchito.
Good friend ko yan si Monchito. It's a good friend of mine.
That's right. the former Inquirer Bureau Chief in Cebu, si Connie Fernandez, Rohan, is with us. She does our Cebu work, right?
Wow.
Our former business section quarterback in the Inquirer, Princess Ominga, is with us as our general
Inquirer,
manager.
Oh.
No, because there was an opportunity because they
yes.
shut down the company,
The
right?
print,
Okay, and
Vanessa.
the former head of layout of the Inquirer, Vanessa, is now doing our visuals for on Canva, which is very important on social media,
Correct.
as you know, right? So ganun ang nangyari, and we were able to launch by May 15 of 2024. So we're turning 2 years
Malapit na,
old
oo.
next month.
Next month.
Right? So far so good. So far, I mean, wala pa rin akong tulog.
Ano yung mga biggest stories niyo so far?
Okay, the two biggest stories, maraming on a daily basis, but the two biggest ones in terms of
Virality.
monetary value muna.
Okay.
Like, monetary value, that's a business reporter, that's how I weigh it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We broke the story about the entry of MUFG and Mitsubishi in GCash.
Okay.
These were $5 billion
Investments.
investments, right? Okay. This happened in July of 2024. Diba? So we were a few weeks into our and so na break namin yun. And that was big. Those were big and our stories were quoted by Bloomberg, Reuters, internationally. Malaking bagay sa amin yon as a new outfit to be quoted by these established diba? And we were able to break the story. This was not a scoop, but the speed of the platform and the publishing process made it possible. Nung in-announce na ng Cebu Pacific that they had chosen Airbus to buy 150 planes, the biggest order in Philippine history. Nauna kami by, ito yung sinasabi ko sa yung minutes to seconds, di ba? Because mabilis yung proseso na So, nagmamaneho ko, tinext ko si Miguel. Miguel was able to publish right away. So, those two were big.
What about yung kay Bea Alonso? Sa inyo ba yan?
Oh my God, that's...
Parang kayo yung...
That's-
kayo ko nakita.
Okay, in terms of crashing the site, that's the biggest. That's the biggest in terms of traffic. So much so na napaggastos ako to upgrade the server.
You have to scale up.
I mean,
Hindi kaya nung
hindi ko naman alam na ganun pala kalakas ang entertainment.
Para kayo na DDoS.
Basically, hindi ko naman alam na ganun pala kalakas ang entertainment news. I mean,
Of course, yeah.
holy crap, But, that's
Kasi hindi lang siya entertainment eh. Entertainment and
in business, right?
Well, but the story inside was primarily a business
Right.
story.
I mean, I think we could have handled the
Yeah.
business readers.
Correct.
But
Not that.
so it was down from 10 a.m. to around 9:30 in the evening.
Ang matagal din.
Matagal. But nung naayos na, okay na. So ngayon we have the extra bandwidth and capacity on the servers to accommodate future stuff of that nature, knock on wood, right?
Millions of hits. Yun ba?
Pero yun kasi ang kailangan especially when you're on digital. At least meron kang, yun yung pang tipping point mo kumbaga eh.
Yeah.
Pang kick.
Kailangan mo maramdaman yung
may
na yun. Okay.
Para rin makilala ka, talagang yun ang issue. Pero,
So yes, tama ka.
pero ngayon, ang isang giging problema nakikita ko nga yan, yung breaking news, kaya mga exclusive news. Yun na nga, yung agawan kayo sa oras, unahan kayo sa oras. Anong nangyari? Minsan kinopia lang sa'yo eh. Di ba?
Yes.
Actually,
Yung story, di ba?
yes.
Tapos siya yung magpa-viral.
Yes.
Siya yung magpa-viral
Yes.
dahil kinopia sa'yo yung story.
Right.
Merong isang outlet na mahilig dyan eh. Yun yung tatanong ko next eh. Kasi pagka napulot, tapos yung that outlet
Kasi di ka man lang i-attribute.
Yan, madalas mangyari sa Newsbytes.
Di
ba?
Always the victim.
This is a constant discussion between myself and our team members, especially si Miguel, who is very possessive of the visuals he makes
Yes,
himself.
oo, correct.
Kasi maganda yung pagkagawa niya, tapos mamaya nakita mo
Crop
na sa
lang
iba,
naman.
na-crop out lang yung watermark mo,
Oo,
pare. di ba? O digitally binura yung watermark.
Correct.
But alam na alam mo, di ba? So yun. And then the stories that can get regurgitated in another form without a backlink, without acknowledgement.
Or acknowledgement.
Di ba? Nakakainis. Nakakainis. But, okay, and this was very tough for me to do, but sabi ko, and I'm not sure it was the right thing to do actually. Pero sinabi ko kay Ian, kaya mo na.
Oh, it's a reality you have to deal with it.
Kaya mo na.
Especially with AI.
Oo.
AI, lahat
Kinukuha eh, di ba?
Kinukuha.
Kaya mo na basta, no, but so the pressure is now on us to make sure that the initial break is really impactful.
Yeah, that's true.
To the point na pag nakita ng ibang audience nalubas din sa iba, they will know at the back of their heads, actually nauna
Galing
ko.
yan.
Galing
And
yan sa
more
isa.
importantly, para maramdaman ng algorithm na kayo talaga yung nauna. Di ba? Kasi the algorithm, which is still work in progress, sometimes will elevate the second or third mover.
Correct.
Ikaw, maiinis ka.
Oo.
So you have to make your output so compelling that the algorithm sees you, right?
Nauna na sa'yo agad.
Yung actually matagal namin pinag-usapan dito yan eh. Yung the old newspapers like Inquirer, Star, Bulletin, Manila Times, they want and they couldn't yung attribute niya first reported by the Inquirer or the Philippine Star. Sa New York Times, they do that all the time.
Yes.
Sa Washington Post.
Yes.
Pero sa atin di sa Pilipinas, hindi natin magawa yun. Kaya nga, di ba, I've been liking your post pag sinasabi mo na ina-attribute nyo, tapos kayo ina-attribute din. Tama yun eh.
Pero ngayon, ang teaching ko sa kanila, mag-attribute na rin kahit sa anong source.
As someone who used to violate the tenets quite liberally, I can now say na mali yung ginagawa ko na earlier reports said, diba? Parang gano'n na lang and that was to a large degree because of my own pride and ego. Right? I don't want to acknowledge that a competitor is
First broke the story.
Yeah. Kung papasikatin ko pa. Hindi, baka naman maisip ng na ako talaga.
Ako na-feel ko yan nung nasa interaction ako. There was a big story na brinake ng interaction dati tungkol sa West Philippine Sea. Brinake namin ng mga around 9:20 or 9:25 in the evening. Tapos maya, siyempre naka-monitor kami ng mga TV station. Brinake ng ABS. Brinake ng isang sila, ABS-CBN. Brinake nila at around 9:30, breaking news.
Kanila na.
Hindi. Sabi pa, ang doon, uy, okay, na-pick up yung story yata.
Baka may exclusive pa.
Tapos sabi nung, according to a news website, tapos talaga lahat kami, jaw-drop, hindi ba kami na-mention? Hindi ka ba lang kami na-mention? Pero breaking yun about West Philippine Sea story. Naalala ko yun, 2012. Siyempre,
super annoying.
we were still trying to,
Annoying.
gain recognition sa time na yun. Tapos bilang...
Pero ako nung nagtataka ko, the paragon of US journalism, New York Times, yung Washington Post, the best publication in the US, hindi problema sa kanila.
Hindi sila tatakot.
Sa atin, parang
it's a
mortal sin.
Mortal sin.
Yeah, exactly.
Mortal sin.
But I realize that acknowledging the success of your competitor makes you better.
That's so true. That's so true.
Agree.
I agree. Yes, 100%. Kaya ngayon, even ako, nagsusunod pag yung attribute ko, kung galing sa attribute ko talaga. Galing sa Philstar.
No big deal. Shouldn't be a big deal.
Yes. Kasi lalo, especially na ngayon, kailangan lalo kasi hindi mo alam kung saan talaga nanggagaling yung source, di ba?
Exactly. It improves the credibility of your output.
Yes,
right?
that's so
Correct.
true.
Speaking of which, Dax, coming from a traditional background na print, yung mga tao mo rin ngayon, yung mga kasamahan mo pa rin pala, rather, galing din sa print.
Yes.
Bakit what does your background bring to the to the table as
Okay.
Online journalist?
Okay. I'm sure this will come as no surprise to you, but the principles and the discipline broadly the same.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
The rigors of it, yeah.
The rigors of journalism are the same. Ang nagkaiba lang is the delivery mechanism.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
The processes. But the values, ideally, the values should be the same.
The same.
Right?
Yeah, that's so
The
true.
ethics,
So,
the everything. Nag-usap nga kami nila Jing eh. Medyo iba pa rin yung mindset mo kapag galing ka sa may journalism training ka eh.
Yes, yeah,
Diba?
definitely.
Meron kang restraint, yung rigor,
Yeah,
rigors,
rigor, yeah.
yung vetting process.
The words you choose.
Yes.
Correct.
Right?
The word you
The words you dahil maingat ka sa libel.
at yung vetting policies, alam mo eh. Kaya nga sabi, kanina rin, napansin ko, sabi nga, kung naunahan ka, kinopya lang sa'yo, ang isang advantage sa atin as a real journalist, may follow-up story tayo.
Yep.
Sila wala eh. Kung
Yun
kopya
yan.
na nila,
Yun yan.
pero wala lang
Yun
sila
yan.
maanong na story after
Hindi
that.
nila
Pero
ma-
tayo, we can still do more doon sa
Yes.
story na kinopya nila, di ba?
Speaking of maingat, attorney, kung maingat tayo dati sa libel, mas maingat tayo ngayon sa cyber libel.
That's
di ba?
so true. Yeah,
It's
The penalty is twice.
more
Twice.
it's a more potent law,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we bring that kind of basic discipline, which fortunately or unfortunately, our competitors in the space are less formally trained competitors in the space don't have yet, right? Which I'm hoping they will learn also.
Correct.
One example dyan, yung isang news website, kaya sila nayari yun kasi dahil digital, recurring crime.
Exactly,
Diba?
exactly.
Recurring crime kasi nakapost.
You can make an argument for that.
Correct.
You know?
Okay, babalik po ang Tech Sabado. Lalo nagiging interesting itong usapan natin after a few reminders lang. Back dito sa Tech Sabado, and of course kasama pa rin natin si Atty. Melvin Calimag ng Newsbytes.ph, Tito Tribs ng Manila Times, and of course, the great Dax Lucas.
Yan ang may the great
The
na.
man.
The man.
Meron ang the great
Of Insider.ph. Kaya ako
Thanks for the trouble.
Alam mo, kaya ako sinabi yan, talaga sobrang bilib ako dun sa Bangladesh Bank.
Ay, oo.
Na until now, grabe, para sa akin, hindi ko talaga maisip kung bakit parang napaka-trivial lang sa sa mga Pilipino, even the government. Kasi nung nandun ako sa Cyber Week sa Israel dati.
Tel Aviv.
Sa Tel Aviv. Lahat ng session na pinuntahan ko, yun ang number one example of cybercrime.
Pinag-usapan.
Yung Bangladesh
Correct.
Bank.
That's
Until now,
$1
issue
billion.
yan.
Yeah.
Bumalik yung issue, di ba? Dahil I think Bangladesh is now suing
Yes,
the bank, di ba?
Yeah, the bank and then the government.
For not even returning the money.
Yeah.
Pero balik tayo doon sa mga usapan natin regarding digital journalism, no. Ang isa sa mga nakita kong hindi naman issue pero talagang kailangan harapin natin as journalists, itong social media. Okay. 'Di ba? Talagang yan ang labanan ngayon, eh. Hindi naman website eh. Parang tama ba pareho bang is it the same with Insider? It's a battle within the social media realm.
Yes.
Sige lang ako bago sagutin ni Dax.
Sige.
I think Kasi on my part, Newsbyte, 95% come from social media channels, whether Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Hindi ang isang reader naman, hindi naman diretso sa website mo eh.
That's so
He
true.
gets it from
Bago
social
ka
media.
pumunta.
Is that true as well?
Yes. Most of us in the digital space will have three legs. Direct traffic.
Correct.
Right? So there's still some people na
Meron pa
tina-type yung URL ng mo. Right?
Sasahan natin.
The second leg is search. Right?
Oh,
They
yeah,
search
yeah. Oh.
Melvin Calimag. And then, lalabas yung mo doon.
yung-
And then they click on that, that's search.
Correct.
Right? The third leg is social
Social
media.
media.
Right? And it varies from organization to organization. Ideally, one-third, but it never happens,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Iba-iba,
Yes.
depende
So,
sa
sa Newsbyte, sa Insider,
Okay, when we started, we were 90% social
social
Oh,
media.
right?
Okay.
And we're mainly talking about Facebook dahil nasa Pilipinas tayo, right? So, and then we had search, and then we had direct traffic.
Okay.
Right? Because pag bago ka, no one actually types your URL.
Okay.
Pag nakikilala ka na, sometimes people go direct na. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes, the good stories get passed around on messaging groups, right? That counts as direct traffic.
Okay.
If you click on a link that's sent to you by Viber, right, via Viber, and that counts as direct traffic. Okay. So right now, medyo nauuna na yung direct namin because some of the more interesting stories get passed around the messaging
really?
groups. So still roughly one-third, pero nag-skew ng konti in favor of direct and search.
Oh,
You still
diba?
boost on social media?
Always. It's for us that's we look at it as an advertising expense. Right?
Oh,
Para so that some of our more interesting stories get put in front of the eyes of the viewer. I mean, they don't have,
Yun ang business model ng social media platform.
of course. No.
Yung boosting mo eh.
Yeah. For us, it's an advertising expense.
Yes.
Okay.
Dax, speaking social media, advertising. Right now, medyo magulo pa or hindi pa established yung ad model ng
Business
ng
model.
Newsbyte.
Oh.
Unlike for example, it's pag nabanggit mo to somewhere sa isang interview mo, for example, isang full page ad ng isang dyaryo, 500,000
Yes.
on full color sa Sunday, di ba?
Yes.
Pero hindi mo pwedeng gawin sa online yan.
Oh, yes, of course.
20,000 one month na yun.
Sobrang commoditized. pare. Diba?
So,
It's-
moving forward, what do you think is a viable na ad model?
And
Considering na medyo marami ka ng kasamahan.
Yeah.
And just to add na kayo, like Newsbytes and Insider, wala kayong print. Katulad ng Manila Times, meron kaming may isa pang business model na pwede pang sumalo.
Exactly.
Ano para
Okay.
sa mga platforms?
If I may encourage you to look at it from the back end first. Unahin natin yung puwet kaysa ulo. Okay. What do you want your site to look like? In my case, Miguel and I decided we do not want 7 pop-up ads. Coming at you. Producer. We don't want the clutter. We don't want that. So we made the policy decision that we will never have display ads. Never.
Okay.
Right? So, that's off the table.
So
Right?
kahit yung mga banner,
Wala. Tingnan mo.
Oo, pag tingnan mo yan.
Mali. Our developer reserved a little box there sa side. I don't think we're ever gonna use it.
Okay.
Right? Yes. Ay, magulo eh. I mean, just on the way here in traffic, nag-aano ako, syempre nakaganon ako. Pag tingin ko, pag click ko sa isa, binilang ko in my head red light naman. So, I think 7 ads in a story, right?
Correct.
2 videos na nag-pop up. And then
meron pa yung bumababa.
gumagalaw, sinusunod sa'yo. Tapos kung hindi, malaki yung daliri mo at hindi mo mapindot yung X ng tama.
Yes.
Puta, andar na yung
Tsaka
video.
itatago
Yes,
pa
so true. Yung scroll mo yung story, mapipindot mo yung ad.
Correct.
So, okay. Now, if you're okay with that, great. Right? You will have that revenue stream. Medyo manipis yun, but you will have it. Right? And if your story is viral, that will take care of some of the bills.
Yep.
Right? With the caveat being, display ads are commoditized, super commoditized. Ang patayan niya ang negosyo na yan. Right? The other business model, I will encourage you to explore is partnerships talaga. Partnerships.
Sponsored post ba to? No.
Whether it's sponsored
Parang
post,
advertorial.
right? I mean, as long as you declare your partnerships and biases, right? I think
Correct.
it's no big deal. In my case, my biases are declared on the website. I am pro business, pro big business,
Correct.
diba? So that will be our revenue
Business model.
going forward once we start to monetize, right? We're not there yet, but we're coming to the end of our runway, so we're.
So you're not monetizing yung content niyo so far? Hindi pa. Okay.
Ano pala to?
Passion project pa rin.
This is the path to coming up with what you call an MVP, minimum viable product, right? Where I know we're taking too much time, but you know,
Yeah.
okay lang, di naman tayo
Parang
nagmamadali
Newsbytes passion project.
Yeah.
TechSabado.com is
Oh,
still
Tech
passion
Sabado.
project.
So, you know, pare, I am sure there are hundreds of outfits out there who would want your expertise to chime in on their product or service. And you have a reputation for impartiality. Right? They'd love to bask in that halo. You know, that's something you should
Tito
explore.
Trips, if they're not earning yet, Dax must have gotten millions from this.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Si Dax na makakasagot nun. Si Dax.
Well, I was.
Kaya mo, hindi mo yata nunod BIR.
Ito lang lalagay ko lang sa perspective yung kwento ni Dax. After your story about how Insider PH came about, I realized this is how Raul Locsin jumped into business world online. Exactly. Although, syempre, di ba, ang nasa isip niya, kailangan journalist ka pa din.
Yes.
I remember
Yes,
that. So,
yes.
I was assigned to do the web, which was based on Spider, and we had Photoshop.
Late
And then-
80s.
Late 80s. And then, nagmo-modify lang ako ng picture to make it brighter. Sabi ni Mr. Locsin sa akin, don't touch that picture.
Nagustuhan niya.
Oh, I shouldn't touch it now. Kasi you will alter, it's the journalistic equivalent.
Wow.
Altering the story if you alter the brightness of the photo.
Super old school.
Super
old
old school.
school.
But you are bringing these old school attitudes.
Some of it. A lot of it.
A lot of it.
Not everything.
A lot of it in terms of reporting, in terms of verification, in terms of the way it is written. If you read Insider PH, the prose, it's not only journalistic.
We try. We try.
Di ba? Tapos mo na yung storya, and as a reader, I'm happy. I walk out and I'm happy with the story.
Okay, can I tell you a little secret?
Oh.
A substantial amount of what you read there is AI process.
AI process.
Right?
Okay.
And that's also declared on the website.
Yes.
Right?
But when you say AI process, it starts from a human
Yes.
discussion.
Tao nag-prompt.
Oh,
And
polish
then
lang.
tao yung last look.
Correct.
Right? Last touch. Tao.
Correct.
Tao on both ends.
Correct.
Right? One very neat trick in AI is that you can train it to read and sound like you.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, this is not a trade secret because it can, if you Google, it can be done. You throw in a few of your human written articles and naka-prompt na it has to sound like this.
Okay.
So the AI stuff now sounds like myself.
Okay.
Right?
Which AI do you use? ChatGPT?
We use
Claude?
three. We use
Gemini?
use ChatGPT,
Okay.
Gemini, and
Claude. Or
Copilot.
Copilot.
Medyo konti, but yeah, we're using all of that, and
all paid.
the all paid
Subscribed.
you know, the higher tier stuff.
Okay.
Pero the use of AI ngayon sa journalism, hindi naman kailangan na maging sikreto. Kailangan nga i-reveal mo.
Kailangan
Yeah.
You have to
i-reveal.
reveal, yun ang the ethical way to do it na you have to reveal it.
Yes.
And you know, many of our more traditional, more established colleagues frown upon AI, right? And you know, I write better. Absolutely, you do, right? But it's an efficiency tool.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a more tool.
It frees up the human for more substantive work.
Okay. That's true.
And as long as the accountability is with the guy who did the last task.
Yep. That's why the first and the last is very important.
Yung kasi isang issue sa AI, yung accountability, who will be accountable? Is it the robot o you? Pero dapat talaga you yung tao pa rin.
Yeah.
Yes, ganoon naman talaga. Even the policy namin sa Manila Times when it comes to AI use, yung pa rin ang yung pa rin, the box stops sa
Correct.
the
And
editor.
there is no shame in declaring.
Yes,
of
diba?
course.
Many of our reporter colleagues I noticed use it on the sly, right? Kasi bawal pa rin ng
parang,
editor. So ginagawa nila, tapos papasa, ayusin ng konti, papasa. Buksan nyo na. Diba?
Correct.
Buksan nyo na. Okay lang yun. Okay lang yun.
Yeah. TechSabado.com, karamihan dun AI ang kasi wala naman akong staff.
Yeah.
Ganun din naman talaga yung mangyayari. Pero yeah, pag-usapan pa natin more about AI and of course yung future po ng journalism as a whole sa panahon po ng ng digital. Pagbabalik po ng Tech Sabado. Again sa last portion po ng Tech Sabado, Jing Garcia pa rin po hosting this show. Balikan na natin yung usapan, continue natin usapan tungkol sa digital journalism. Ano ba future ng ng journalism?
Come to the crystal ball segment.
Yes, oo. Magsusurvive pa ba ang print? Katulad namin nila Tito Trib, which is nasa digital din naman kami. Pero yun na nga ano na ang sitwasyon ng journalism as a whole? Dax, nahin ka namin being our guest.
Okay, print will survive as a niche player, right? Because some people still like reading, holding on to something, right? Parang may libro pa rin naman kahit may Kindle, right?
That's so true.
So, yeah, it will survive.
But
But,
saying niche na lang siya, hindi na siya majority.
wala na pare.
Pang barbershop tsaka beauty parlor na lang mo siya.
Exactly. It's gonna be a small player, and the game will be played digital. Obviously, you don't need to say that.
Happening right now, which is happening right now.
10 to 15 years down the road, when these millennials or this current generation will come up of age, do you think they will still read printed publication?
I don't
I'd love to. I have an opinion, and I'd love to make an opinion, but let me use another visual analogy to reply to that question. There was a time not so long ago na lahat tayo parang nagmamaneho tayo ng kotse in our journalistic careers, and the visibility was 20 kilometers. It's like driving in the desert going to Las Vegas, you could see forever, right?
Yep.
20-kilometer visibility.
Correct.
You could map out your entire career.
Yeah.
When you're 22, you know where you'd end. Okay? Now, the visibility is not 20 kilometers, it's 20 feet. You're driving in
Ganda.
fog
Yes.
in a winding mountain road.
Ganda.
Okay?
Yes, that's so
I-on
good.
mo yung fog lamps mo, it adds 5 feet. So you can see only 25 feet.
Correct.
Who knows what will happen after that? So I'd love to make a prediction. I just don't know. We don't know.
For like example, no, hindi naman natin anticipate na by this time AI will
Just a few years ago, wala
yan eh.
Wala
Just
yan.
2 years ago, wala yan.
Joke.
Everyone's talking about
And,
AI and
you know,
doing this,
18
jobs.
months ago, the warning about AI is hallucination.
Yeah,
It makes up codes, it makes up numbers.
Correct.
Today, zero hallucination. I mean, in our use, zero hallucination, zero made-up codes, zero made-up numbers. Ang hallucination ngayon is when I'm making those Muppet pictures, nagkakaroon ng Muppet sa likod na hindi ko naman inutos.
Yun na lang,
Diba? Yun, visual lang. Pero mawawala rin yan. Mawawala rin yan. Diba? So, now the challenge is how to make AI sound more human. Because everyone's, I know when it's AI because ito yung format ng ano. What happens when that goes away in 6 months? In 6 months, wala na yung formulaic AI writing. Hindi mo na makikita. What happens then? Right? It will learn. It will learn. Now you can tell it's yung post na yan. Di naman magaling magsulat yan. Bakit ang ganda bigla ng post niya?
Bigla sinabi.
Are, AI will learn how to sound like you. I swear.
Yes. That's so true.
Para sa akin, very telling yung nangyari sa Philippine Daily Inquirer. From talagang ano yan eh. The Inquirer sets the national agenda.
That's
just a
so
few
true.
Number
years
one.
back.
Yeah.
Number one.
Undisputed. Pag sinabi ng Inquirer, on print, on record,
Yep.
that's it.
Yep.
Di ba? Pero what happened? Ngayon, they're being operated by the online sibling. Di ba? Parang,
Weird.
so nag-iba.
Bago nga.
Imagine that, di ba? Oo, nagbaliktad
Total,
eh.
oo.
Baliktad. Nagbaliktad.
So, it's something that
Inquirer building nga, school na ngayon. Lyceum.
Yeah. So it's like you move into your previously less affluent cousins.
Yeah.
Binenta mo yung bahay mo, you move to their house. At sila na yung siga ngayon.
Correct.
So that is a humbling experience.
Yes, really.
But it is a useful, humbling experience if you can learn from it, right? Very important. Very important. That's the lesson for all of us. Right?
Pero do you think the Inquirer or the Star for that matter can adapt yung ginawa ng New York Times or the Wall Street Journal to have a paywall para to survive?
Yeah. That's
Kasi yun na naging problema, yung paywall. Kaya sinasabi nga, libre yung misinformation pero yung truth, hindi.
May bayad.
May bayad. Doon nagkakaproblema ngayon yung entire internet.
So that's what kept them afloat.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, New York Times is doing so well.
Yeah.
Right. The challenge, of course, is there's this mindset among our colleagues na ang Pilipino ayaw magbayad.
Dito sa Pilipinas, hindi applicable eh. No?
That is only partly true.
Okay.
Because we pay for Spotify, right? Lahat tayo.
Bagay. Totoo.
Netflix.
We pay.
Correct.
Netflix.
We pay for Netflix. So nagbabayad tayo.
Oo.
You just have to make the product or the service compelling for them to
Enough to,
part
yes.
with 129 pesos a month.
Correct.
Right? Nagbabayad tayo. So if they're not paying for your news service or product, why?
So,
Maybe
niche market lang din.
super niche, di ba?
Oo.
Super niche. I mean, that's why I am just in business. I mean, it can be a broader product,
Yep.
but I'm not there yet, right? I don't know.
But is that something that you're looking at eventually?
Maybe. I mean, I'd love to daydream and think of myself as a media mogul. Pero parang dito pa tayo sa struggling entrepreneur pa lang tayo.
Tapos sabi ko nga, you mentioned that you're in business. At tanong ko lang for Insider, ano ba yung pinaka-saleable na story in business? Kasi may nagbabasa pa ba ng BSP stories? May nagbabasa pa ba ng
Thank you for asking.
ng stock market? Ano
Thank
ba?
you for asking. In the business section, obviously the the things that really moves traffic are corporate news, right? And the personalities behind the scenes. And this is humbling for me because I spent the bulk of my journalistic career as a central bank reporter. And in the first few months of Insider PH, I tried my darndest best. And I know, di sa nagmamayabang, I'm a fairly good writer. I tried many variations of pushing out economic stories, central bank stories, fiscal policy stories, in various formats, ano. And these are very important stories.
Correct.
Hindi talaga pinapansin ng, I mean, may pumapansin, like a small group, right?
The insider market.
I suppose,
Siguro, di ba?
I suppose, right? This is important news which is regarded as important by only a small, the broader market. They want the developments of the corporate world, in the business community, the personalities. So, at this stage of my entrepreneurial journey, wala pa akong scale to be able to force people to say, teka, ito talaga yung importante. Kailangan ko muna silang pagbigyan on what they think is important. And, you know, they prefer this kind of news. So, ibibigay ko muna sa kanila yun. Correct.
Chismis.
Oo. Also.
Parang bizbas.
Also.
Bizbas pa rin, you know?
So, at this point, diba, that's the bulk of it. I'd love to push out more economic news, but it is a smaller percentage of our output right now. Because also, yung readers namin demand a little less of that. Which is unfortunate. Importante yun. You know, we'll figure it out as we go along.
Yeah.
Right?
Last question for me, Doc.
Yeah.
Why did you settle on the name Insider?
Because of the bizbas thing.
Yun
Ano ba
Okay,
yun?
okay.
You're yung insider.
Okay. This is going to be a little too honest, I think. But all my entire quarter of a century as a business reporter, okay, my colleagues have always accused me of being too close to the sources, right? And that clouds my judgment. And, and unfortunately or fortunately, totoo yun, that is my style.
Yeah.
That is my style.
Correct.
Right? And
That's how you get inside.
yes. Yeah. I mean, they have to trust
Di
you.
ba may
with something.
kabal nga kayo?
Yeah, no. They have to be comfortable with you before they can share
Yes,
secrets.
that's so true, yes.
Right?
Ganun naman
Na
talaga.
hindi mo sila
Ganun talaga.
ipapahamak.
And that's what journalists do, actually, di ba?
Of course. Well, ang bad side doon, pag sumobra, yung access journalism.
Yeah.
Di ba? Yung
Sobrang
extreme
charming,
bad.
kumbaga. Sobrang charming
Na
naman.
hindi mo na gagawin yung masama. Okay, it's always a balancing act. At one point, I said, so yun ang bansag sa akin, yun ang accusation sa akin. Why don't I just own it? Inside. Okay. Yeah. So now the whole marketing bit of this platform is like, you don't have to believe everything we say, but if you want to know what these guys are thinking, what the 1% is thinking, ito yun. Rightly or wrongly, ito yun. Di ba? Bahala ka na mag-decide. Basta ito yung inside view doon. Right? So, it's something to do like that. Total, yun din naman tingin sa akin. Sige, embrace it na.
Ganun ka rin naman eh. Dahil nasa industry ka ng tech, they go to you for, di ba? For stalls. Lumalabas sa mga, ang daming ang breaking stories din ng Newsbytes.
Tech lang.
Sa tech. Ito talaga business.
Business.
Let's embrace
Yes.
our
Connection.
niche. Diba? Let's embrace our niche. Diba?
Tama.
Bakit? Diba? Doon ka magaling eh.
Might as well.
Doon tayo magaling. Diba? Basta i-declare mo na yun yung yun yung bias mo. Diba?
yes.
Bahala na kayo.
Totoo yan. Totoo yan. Okay, on that note, ganda. Pero bibigyan namin sa iyo yung floor para to invite them to read Insider.
First of all, thank you, gentlemen, again for giving me the platform to get myself into more trouble
Yes.
with our industry colleagues. This is very interesting, and I love the new format ng Tech Sabado.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mabuhay kayo.
Thank you.
I've been watching you guys for a couple of years now, and your previous episode with William was one of the best.
Thank
and
you.
it's
Thank you.
magaling. So happy for you guys. Please, when you have time, pag nakita nyo nag-scroll through kayo sa insider stories on your social media feeds, check it out. We try to make it as readable and understandable, entertaining for the market. Do not read Insider PH only. Read everything, as many as you can, and triangulate where the truth is. I will never claim that we have a monopoly on truth, right?
Yes.
Take as many sources as you can, including the fake news guys, but triangulate. Triangulate, diba? Find the real truth somewhere in between these multiple points. That's the way forward.
Okay, maraming salamat Mr. Dax Lucas, the senior reporter and founder of Insider.ph. Talagang inside info. Pero hindi insider trading.
Bawal yun.
Bawal yun.
Ayun, so would like to thank you for great, napakagandang kasi mga nakarelate tayo kasi lahat tayong journalist.
Oh, ganda. Enjoy ako sa episode na to.
Okay. So maraming salamat din po sa venue venue natin, Quad. Here sa Asian Century Building, sa Asian Century Center sa BGC, and of course to Limang Siglo, our collaborator for Tech Sabado. Maraming salamat. Dito Trips, ko naman.
Maraming salamat, Dax Lucas, CEO. Ako ho magsasabi. CEO and founder of Insider PH. Proud ho kami na nandito si Dax ngayon. Napakaganda ng kwentuhan namin. So, insider.ph.
InsiderPH.com.
InsiderPH.com. Diyan ho kayo pumunta. Raymund Tribdino po ng The Manila Times, cleantechnica.com at ng Tech Sabado.
Yes, thank you very much, Dax Lucas. It's an honor having you here sa Tech
The
Sabado.
honor is mine.
Yeah. Insider PH po yan. Talagang one of the top business news website dito sa Pilipinas. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat at hopefully nag-enjoy kayo sa aming episode, which ako nag-enjoy talaga. I'm sure makasama ko na nag-enjoy this episode nito with Senyor Dax Lucas. Okay, Jing Garcia po ng Tech Sabado. Have a good night and see you next week.